Hello, my name is Sarah Teray, and today I am going to be presenting a video presentation on my essay, Why the Two-Party System is Flawed. So to start off, we're going to be covering my research question and the purpose of why I chose this topic. How does the two-party system negatively impact American government and society, and what alternatives could offer more inclusive representation? So during the process of researching for this essay, I went through a few steps. As you can see in this diagram here, I began with my research question, did a review of related literature, design, collecting data, and analyzing that data in order to create my essay. The three major arguments that I came up with were polarization, the oversimplification of issues, and the exclusion of third-party candidates. This is my issue with the two-party system. Continuing on, I asked myself a few questions when deciding my topic. What is relevant today? What is researchable? And what is arguable? These were important because without these things, there's not really a lot of basis as to why I would need to make this. So I felt like it was a topic that was covered, but not covered as much. So I wanted to talk about it. I came up with the idea about it because of the flaws with our two-party system, especially today, due to our unstable political climate and the fact that it was also heavily researched and documented. My stance politically has always been kind of in the middle, so it just resonated with me, and it highlighted some of the issues that I have with the two-party system. I was able to find a lot of unbiased, trustworthy sources online to back my point, with most being written by either people in the field or people with an education on the field. After doing my research and analyzing my findings, putting this all together was a breeze. I was able to back my points with evidence, rebut any counterpoints, and most importantly, offer a solution to our problem. So now I'm going to segue into my first argument, which is polarization. What is polarization? Political polarization is the divergence of political attitudes away from the center towards ideological extremes due to the distrust of opposing political parties. As you can see in this diagram here, it compares Republicans and Democrats, and it asks them whether or not they believe the other party are any of these words right here: closed-minded, dishonest, immoral. And most of the parties said, both of the parties, most of the people said that they believed the opposing party was these things. And so it's the two-party system is made to divide us and pit us against each other. In this quote by Reem Nadim of Pew Research, he says 3/4 of Democrats and Republicans now view each other as closed-minded, dishonest, and immoral. Going on to my next point would be the oversimplification of issues. Things like gun control, abortion, immigration, and climate change has forced people to have black and white thinking on these issues that are actually really nuanced and complex and require solutions that are nuanced and complex. As you can see in this chart right here by Pew Research Center, both Republican and Democrat just go ahead and identify with what their party believes, which is either they're usually a radical stance on it. And it says here by this quote from Charles M. Flanagan of the National Archives that voters often align with a party even if their beliefs do not completely match either platform. This is because the oversimplification of issues with each party forces voters to pick one or the other, even if they don't fully agree with it. Which moves us on to our third argument, which is going to be the exclusion of third parties. Now, as we were talking about in the last slide, having only two choices is not really that good for the people who don't believe in one or the other radical options. But unfortunately, the two-party system forces us to do this. The exclusion of third parties in our government is a blatant lack of representation in our electoral system. It presents an issue with inclusivity and a lack of diversity in our government. As you can see in this diagram right here from Election Lab, MIT Election Data and Science Lab, that how in 2020 from 2016 that so many people had stopped voting third party because regardless of the votes that they get, they know that they'll never get a place in the House because that's just not how our government works with the two-party system. And even if people in third parties get votes, they just don't get any representation. This quote from the Constitutional Rights Foundation says that the system ensures that even if a third party gets significant support, it rarely wins seats. Now, we're going to talk about how do we fix this? What are the solutions? So, I believe that proportional representation, which is often in multi-party system type governments, proportional representation, or PR, refers to any electoral system under which subgroups of an electorate are reflected proportionally to the elected body. Now, basically what this means is the two parties are, it's unbalanced normally how it is right now. In our democracy, we have a winner takes all subset of how this works. And that basically means, as you can see in this democracy at the dinner table diagram here, that it's just not diverse. It's not very, it doesn't include everything and everyone in its decision making. Now, you wouldn't want just chicken legs and like casserole for Thanksgiving. You would want the casserole, the turkey, the pie, the mashed potatoes, green beans. You want it all. And that's basically what proportional representation does. And these are usually found in multi-party systems, which are political systems where more than two meaningfully distinct political parties regularly run for office and win elections. Many countries ranked high for effective governance, which basically means they're a great place to live, use PR, proportional representation, and this kind of multi-party system, including Sweden, Norway, Finland, and Denmark, which, if you know anything about those places, they're some of the happiest places on earth. This quote from Droopman and Oldham from New America says, proportional representation would create conditions for a more inclusive and collaborative House. Now, what did I learn going into researching this topic? Well, I was able to stretch my critical thinking skills and go into in depth into topics that I agreed with and opinions that I didn't agree with. And it was, really interesting to see both sides of it. I was definitely able to up my research literacy. I learned how to better check sources and be more consistent with just the types of sources that I provided, making sure that they were unbiased and qualified. And I also learned a lot about how our political structures work and how our democracy works, and just the fact that our situation now with our political system is not the only option, and that we have more options. So now why am I even talking about this? Why is it even relevant? Doesn't even apply to you or me? As you can see in this poll from the 2024 election, which was last year, 72% of people are dissatisfied with how things are going. 6 out of 10 people view Biden and Trump unfavorably. So that's Democrats and Republicans. And 18% of people support a named third party candidate. Political polarization is a problem more relevant now than it has ever been before, with many people feeling really unsatisfied with last year's election. Once, the two-party system was, shown to have stability, and it was shown to, you know, bring us hope and organize us, but it's slowly but surely causing a rift to form in our communities and tearing us and pitting us against each other, and it's leading towards a dysfunctional and regressive democracy. Overall, all hope is not yet lost, but I believe that the two-party system is an outdated, harmful format for our democracy. Voters are pitted against each other, and polarization between parties occurs. Voters who don't identify with either of the two dominating parties don't feel represented, and they may choose a party that they don't even identify with. Third-party candidates are given no chance of winning in the two-party system, despite receiving votes, creating a lack of diversity in our democracy. We must push for alternatives, such as a multi-party system or proportional representation, to give every voter a voice and representation so we can begin to heal our divided democracy. I said this quote in my essay: "A country thrives not when it limits choices, but when it empowers all voices." And I really love that. This is my works cited page. It has all of the citations that I used. And thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it.